Coming up on Hi Now Daily, it's Hōkūle'a's 50th birthday, and we're celebrating with the Polynesian Voyaging Society and friends.
We're highlighting crew members from the past and present as we look ahead to the future.
Plus, we learn about food on board the canoe and the canoe's connection to Japan.
And how you can support Hōkūle'a, starting right now on Hi Now Daily. How's it, Aloha gang, and welcome to Hi Now Daily. What an incredible show we got planned for you folks today. Today we honor the legacy of Hōkūle'a as we begin to celebrate the 50th birthday. What a celebration, its impact on the past, the present, and the future. Very honored to be joined by Uncle Billy Richards and Uncle John Cruz, Hōkūle'a original crew members from 76. Welcome into the show, Uncle. Thank you.
All for having us.
Mahalo nui for being here. A bit busy month for you folks, huh?
Kind of.
Small kind. It's only going to get busier throughout the week, but today going to be a lot of fun. Uncle John, I want to start with you. How did you first get introduced to Hōkūle'a back then?
I was going to night school, and I went to Ala Moana Shopping Center to buy some supplies, and I met Kimo Hugo, and Kimo Hugo was my old classmate from BYU. Well, we called it Church College then. And so he introduced me to Herb Connie, was with him that evening. And then Herb said to come down to his house down New Valley, down at Hawaii Kai where Huinalo paddles now. Yeah, that's how pretty much he said that the National Geographic had a project that they were doing for the bicentennial. And they wanted to build a canoe to recreate the original people that went back to Tahiti and came from Tahiti. And that's how.
Uncle Billy, I saw an interview that you did where you talked about launching in 76 and how it was kind of this this meeting in the middle of two different worlds, like a Hawaiian awakening in one way and a different type of conventional thinking.
Yeah, I was introduced to the canoe actually right after it was launched, actually in March 8th. It was launched on March 8th, but March 27th is my birthday. Oh. So I was taken to a lunch at the place called Crouching Lion, and on the way back, the person I was with wanted to see the canoe, so I went and saw it too. And I thought, I went in there and I saw the canoe was in knee, waist deep water, and I walked out. Because there was a point in time when Herb Connie and others were in the news, and they were talking about getting crews for Hōkūle'a, for this trip to Tahiti and stuff. And I wanted to be one of them and stuff, because my father had this book. It's called Vikings of the Sunrise. That was written by Te Rangi Hiroa, Sir Peter Buck, and it talks about the migratory voyages of all Polynesians. And I thought, oh, I'd like to do that someday. And then this canoe shows up. But what happened was Herb Connie got onto the news broadcast, or actually it was newscast, and he said that they were going to go from canoe club to canoe club and pick the best paddlers. I wasn't a paddler. I never paddled. So I figured, okay, I'm out. But I just happened a few months later when John and others brought the canoe to the Big Island, I just happened to be there in Honaunau when one of my friends, who was a paddler, had started a canoe club called Keoua Canoe Club in Honaunau. So he wanted help. The kind of help he needed was somebody who could help them silkscreen shirts for the club shirts. So that's what I did. But at the end of the day, when he had the scrimmage race with these kids from the different canoe clubs, I looked out, when I came down, I saw Hōkūle'a in the water, and Hōkūle'a was there, Halio Keawe, Puonu Honaunau. And then at the end of the race, all the crew members came down, and they're all in malo. They're in malo, they were wearing maileleis. It was really cool looking. And this gentleman came over to me and asked me if we could shuttle the crew out to the canoes. And later on I found out it was Herb Connie, and we agreed to do it. So we're taking the crews out till they're all on board. And in the last crew that got on board, we were ready to push off from Hōkūle'a and stuff, you know. So Hoku's here. I'm hanging onto the yako. I'm sitting in the racing canoe in #1 seat. And there's this prayer circle and they're praying and stuff here. Well, while they're praying, one of the guys on the crew kept looking down at me and stuff, you know. Then when the prayer ended, he jumped into the hall and he reached out and he said, "I think you belong on this boat." Whew, and stuff, you know. Like, what? He said, "I think you belong on this boat." And he pulled me aboard. And that's when I'm saying that from that day on, I have lived with one foot in the past and one foot in the present. Especially you can't help but be when you're with Hōkūle'a. You know, the places we've gone, the things you've done, because you actually are reliving the migratory voyages of your ancestors, you know, I think so.
Oh, that is beautiful. We're gonna have much more to do and talk about with Uncle John and Uncle Billy. Stay with us on High Now Daily. A lot to get to today as we celebrate Hōkūle'a. Rachel, we'll send it over to you.
Thanks so much, Kainoa. Yes, I am sitting down with, of course, some fierce wahine over here who have voyaged along the Hōkūle'a at some point throughout her 50-year journey. So joining me now, of course, we have Ka'iolani Murphy sitting next to me here, Lehua Kamalu, and we also have Kai Hoshijo. Got that right. All right, ladies, just sitting next to you. Honestly, I'm feeling like I'm on a wahine myself. So thank you so much for being here with me. I know you have been a part of her journey, and a big happy birthday to Hōkūle'a. I wanted to have you folks share your experience with her and how that has been for you. Lehua, let's start with you. What has that been like for you?
It's been a journey. Like they say, this is, I think now, I've been a part of it for about 15 years, and I still feel like I'm one of the young ones, although as this process goes on, you find you get a little more kuleana, a little more responsibility as you grow in what you understand about the real full and amazing legacy of this canoe and kind of your place and your chapter in that time. So
definitely, you mentioned 15 years. What are some of the lessons that you might have learned along the way? I'm sure there's many of them, but what is like a standout for you?
Oh, well, I'm pretty impatient, so probably patience is at the top of the list, you know, and realizing, you know, the ocean is a very good teacher of humility and appreciating the things you don't know, however much prepared you are for what's coming your way. So there's lots of moments, I'd say, that have been lessons in just recognizing the power of nature, of the ocean, and also the incredible ability we have to find a place there.
Yeah, and then about working with other crew members. You guys are like ohana when you guys are on the va'a. I wanted to talk to you, Ka'iolani, about mentorship. I know that you have been mentored and you've been, you know, looking to maybe the uncles or other navigators that have been on Hōkūle'a over the years. But you act as a mentor now as a teacher at UH Manoa, at HCC. Tell me a little bit about that and what you are teaching this next generation.
Yeah, so I think just feel really privileged and lucky to be able to teach what I love. I started out, my journey to Hōkūle'a included a class at UH. And so because I had taken that class, that's really how I got involved. And so it's kind of a nice full circle that I get to teach that class now and try to like open up the door to folks that are interested in getting involved. I mean, education is so important. I think about all that Hōkūle'a has done, those Uncle John, Uncle Billy, those first crew members who had like the courage to do this thing for the first time in, you know, centuries. And that really just changed like our whole perspective of our identity and the value of this part of who we are. So it's just really awesome to see that there's so much interest nowadays, and you know, the next 50 years is even more promising.
Beautiful. Speaking of interest, Kai, you are now learning the ropes from these wahine that are sitting next to you. What is that like for you to be going? I know your love of the ocean is so strong. You really dedicate your life to the ocean. So how did you find this passion for voyaging and learning from them?
Sure, it's been 5 years now as a volunteer, and I've just been, like you said, really privileged to be a part of this. And in 50 years, big birthday, and just learning about the history of Hōkūle'a. It's inspiring to know that there's like mentors there that you can rely on, and many that, you know, we're fortunate we get to voyage with as young ones, just one of many of the young students. So we're trying to continue this and share it and be inspired. The ocean gives us everything. We know that in Hawaii, and a lot of the work done in Hawaii to protect the oceans. It's on places like fish ponds, places where I work. It's not very different from the wa'a. Special people, amazing people that come together about an idea that's bigger than themselves and putting their hard work and effort to being able to arrive at a better place. So the ocean really brings us together, whether it's like coastal, deep, and so the canoe, I think, brings all of that into one place. And without these amazing wahine, I don't know what kind of vision I would be able to see for myself in the future. So we're really fortunate.
Oh, man. Okay, last question. 50th birthday candles are out. What is your one wish for the Hōkūle'a?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I think many more long years ahead, full of a big family of people that really love her.
All right, love that so much. So continuing the celebration, and to continue with that, we sent our Lauren Taruya to catch up with Liko Hoi, where he shares about his connection to Hakipu'u. Check it out. Hello, ladies.
I'm here at Moli'i Fish Ponds here with Liko Ho, who has asked me to introduce him as a member of the Hakipu'u Ohana, but we also love and know him as the owner of the Waihole Poi Factory. Thank you so much for being out here with me.
Yeah, mahalo. Mahalo for being Hakipu'u.
Okay, so for anyone who is unfamiliar, do you mind just setting the stage? What are we doing here? What's in our background?
Yeah, definitely. So we're in the ahupua of Hakipu'u, and right now we're right in the middle of Moli'i Fish Pond, which is one of the biggest fish ponds in Kaneohe Bay. To our back is Kanehoalani, the peak, and the Mo'okapua Haloa, which is the ridge line. So we got a beautiful backdrop today.
Stunning. And this is pretty much your backyard, right? This is what you grew up in. Can you just talk a little bit about your family history? And of course, your tie. We're celebrating Hōkūle'a 50 years. Your tie to this incredible celebration that we have.
Definitely, yeah. So our ohana has been in Hakipu'u for hundreds of years. And the tradition of voyaging has also been connected to Hakipu'u, to this land. Kaha'i was one of our kupuna who was a famous voyager throughout the Pacific, and one of the things that he did was he brought back the first ulu plant and planted it right here in Mauka of Hakipu'u.
Wow. That is incredible history. And in addition to ulu, I know also kalo is a huge part, right, of your family. And voyaging as well. Do you mind just sharing what that tie is like?
Yeah, definitely. So as I was pointing out earlier, this line of cliffs here is called the Mo'okapua Haloa. And Haloa was our first ancestor in the Hawaiian tradition. And it's also the name of his elder brother, who was the first kalo plant. And kalo was one of those plants that was taken throughout the Pacific by all of the peoples, island peoples in the Pacific. And to me, it was one of the important plants to have with you on your va'a when you're going to new lands, because it was such a efficient plant that produced a lot of food in a small area. So sometimes you might be actually going to a very small atoll, but the kalo helped to sustain, our voyaging kupuna.
Absolutely, and that cultural significance continues on thanks to people like you. Thinking about 50 years, how does that impact how you feel and looking back at all the history?
Right, so Hōkūle'a was launched right makai of us here in 1975, yeah, and went on to become such an important symbol for Hawaiian people and people throughout the world. My father was actually here when they were putting Hōkūle'a together, and he had spent time in the Peace Corps in Micronesia. And so he actually spoke the same language as Maupiailug. So they were able to converse together and talk about home in Micronesia, but also my dad's home and our ohana's home here in Hakipu'u. And since the birth of Hōkūle'a, our family has continued to be a part, and especially in the later 90s and into today, every time Hōkūle'a comes back to Hōkūle'a's birthplace in Hakipu'u, we always want to be a part of hosting Hōkūle'a. And so this weekend, when we have the 50th anniversary, we'll be there and help to welcome Hōkūle'a back.
Oh my gosh, well thank you so much for being such an incredible part of this celebration. Like Liko said, come out on Saturday, celebrate with everyone, be out here Hōkūle'a, what an incredible, incredible journey, literally, that it's made. But I'm gonna toss things over back to the studio.
All right, mahalo nui to Liko and Lauren. Hey, back over here as we continue to talk about Hōkūle'a. It truly is one of the best classrooms on planet Earth. These two people have a very strong kuleana in terms of continuing the impact of that education. This is Miki Tomita Okamoto, PBS Education Advisor, as well as Kau'i Sang, the Hawaii Department of Education. Welcome into the show, you two.
Aloha.
Mahalo nui for being here. A lot of ike we need to get to right now. So I am curious as well. Miki, I want to start with you. Your specific role as an education advisor, that just sounds like it's very busy and there's a lot of us who need the knowledge. Like, expand a little more on your role and your kuleana.
Yeah, so my voyage with Hōkūle'a and Polynesian Voyaging Society began through education. I was a charter school teacher and then later an administrator. And I met the Voyaging Society actually on Hōkūle'a. We were working on a joint curriculum project. And through that, this decades-long journey of how do we explore places like Hōkūle'a and Hōkūle'a as the most vibrant classrooms that exist for us here in Hawaii. They don't exist anywhere else. Our ahupua'a here, our loko'i'a here, all of that. And so really thinking about how do we make connections of canoe to classroom. That was a program that we ran during the Malama Honua Worldwide Voyage to bring as many students as we can to the canoe and also to bring the canoe virtually to as many students as we can. And expanding upon that in Moana Nui a Kea in the years between, how do we work with partners like the Department of Education, the University of Hawaii, to think about what virtual learning, quality virtual learning and experiences look like to continue to connect students and teachers to the canoe. But also, how do we have people turn inward to their own community to look at the outdoor classrooms that exist all around us? And so that's really been sort of the effort of trying to coordinate and integrate all of those partners to help us in that work.
Absolutely. Kau'i, how important and significant is a collaboration like this, especially when we're talking about your role with what you do, Department of Education, but really educating this next generation of Hawaii keiki?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think from the Department of Education, we wish Hōkūle'a happy 50th birthday.
Hey!
The PVS and the Hōkūle'a has given the department an opportunity to really think out of the box and start to reimagine what public education could look like with sort of extending the walls of our classrooms into the community. I think a lot about this concept of 10 million navigators and recognizing that Hōkūle'a is one way in which we can start to get our students to not just think about navigating their futures, but also remembering that part of voyaging is knowing how to get home. Right. And really making sure that our students are grounded in our place, grounded in who they are because they belong to this place. And really the Department of Education is super excited that partnerships like this, partnerships with a bunch of our community Aina-based stewards across the state really allow us to start to expand access for students to start to connect differently with the place that they're raised in.
Absolutely, continuing to make sure that it's accessible for everybody. So much keiki in all of these pictures we're seeing right now, which I absolutely love. Miki, I want to go back to you because I saw a clip in where you're talking about Hōkūle'a as maybe in stature, it's not tremendously huge, but within the Hōkūle'a, you can fit the entire planet. What does that mean?
Well, we talk about physically, right? Any bounds-based classroom, canoe, 62 feet, 22 feet, a vessel can fit the whole world as part of its learning journey, right? It feels that way. You can fit the entire planet in its vision and its mission to really restore compassion, kindness. As I know, I say Hōkūle'a is an ambassador of aloha for the world, and to think about what that aloha looks like in each community that we visit, and to share in their offering of their aloha and their wisdom as we voyage. And I think one of the things that Nainoa reminds us of often is that we learn that the ocean is the Pacific Ocean, Moana Nui a Kea specifically, is the blue lung of the planet, that she's the thermoregulator, that she is the source of life, right? That air and everything comes from this beautiful ocean. And so if we can learn how we ourselves can be better stewards, but also learn how people around the world are stewarding their oceans, then we all become students and teachers in this large living classroom that protects all of humanity and the planet.
Holy cow, I love that. You guys are 2 for 2. 2 interviews, 2 chicken skin moments. We got much more to get to. Miki, Kau'i, mahalo nui. Rachel, we'll send it over to you.
Thanks so much, Kaino. Yes, joining me now is the first Japan native crew member of Hōkūle'a. We have Kanako Uchino here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, we got to talk story about how you found the Hōkūle'a. You being from Japan, how did that happen? And then it brought you to Hawaii.
So I was younger, like really young, and I just graduated high school and I read about Hōkūle'a in Japan, and I was just so fascinated by what people doing in Hawaii, like the tradition, and after that, I was just dreaming about coming to Hawaii, and so I did, and yeah, just saw Hōkūle'a and start helping dry dock, and yeah,
so you started out as a volunteer just because you read a book and you learned about Hōkūle'a and you're like, I gotta get there, I gotta learn more. But then you fell in love with that, and then it got you into this whole new career as well, studying oceanography, getting into the coral reef. So it really just expanded your horizons, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about some of the experiences on the Hōkūle'a. What were some of the memorable things for you, the highlights, maybe some of the challenges?
Yeah, well, so 2007 we sailed to Japan. So that was amazing trip, and I still vividly remember every single part of that voyage, and it was amazing. Like when we just sailing from Yap and for many days just ocean and sky, and we saw this line of island in the horizon that was Okinawa, and it was just a special moment that just the land, there's a green, there's a water, there's a people, life, that itself felt even miracle to me. Like after that, it just really changed my perspective.
Amazing. Now, when you were sailing over to Japan, did you feel like you had this extra sense of kuleana, that you are from Japan, so you had to take it to a next level of responsibility when it came to maybe helping out your crew members or showing them what was around there?
Yeah, I really felt that I wanted to be a bridge because I was living in Hawaii and I grew up in Japan. So, I felt like that's my role, that I wanted to do as much I can to be a bridge. And yeah, it was amazing. Like it really helped me too, because I felt like I wasn't just sailing for myself. If me being on the canoe, I can connect, to different cultures. And so that was like big help to me when the life was harder on the canoe.
Yeah.
I felt like get more strength by remembering, okay, I'm not just sailing for myself, I'm sailing for so many people.
Yeah, and I love the connection between Hawaii and Japan. A lot of people say that there are some similarities. Do you agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I felt like in Japan, the Japanese culture really strongly connected to nature, and we see spirit in so many aspects, like rain, winds, land, water, everything. That's how we live, and I really see the same in Hawaii, and that's what I love about.
All right, well, Kana, thank you so much for sitting down with me, sharing with everybody your experiences on the Hōkūle'a. Of course, she's an author as well, so go look her up because she's got some books you got to read as well. We are going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more of Hi Now Daily, celebrating the 50th birthday of the Hōkūle'a.
How's it, Aloha gang, and welcome back to High Now Daily. Joining us is Uncle Billy Richards, we had Uncle John Cruz, Lehua Kamalu, as well as Ka'iulani Murphy, as we continue to celebrate the 50th birthday for Hōkūle'a. We've been talking a lot throughout the show about the education, the impact, your personal experiences with the va'a. But one thing we're very curious about, especially for us who see all of these videos that come into the station, is what is that moment like when Hōkūle'a comes into dock? Lehua, I'll start with you.
Boy, when she's just about to dock, I guess I'm hoping I don't hit the dock, but
Let's start there.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it's definitely a time where we feel the energy, the excitement, especially when we have friends, people, strangers, folks, maybe even family that have arrived. You know, we have arrivals here in Hawaii, but also in different countries, in different ports, lots of different ways that you're received. So I'd say all that excitement and a little bit of nervousness around, you know, preparing for what that exchange looks like, because obviously those first meetings are very important, first impressions, and so there are all sorts of maritime protocols, cultural protocols, they're all happening at once, and so...
And you're like, let's not hit anything.
Yeah, and let's not hit anything while we do all that, you know, make this a really beautiful and, you know, safe experience for everyone involved, and get this thing going.
Absolutely. Uncle John, I want to go to you. I saw a video where you're talking about that maiden voyage when you folks come into Tahiti in '76. And after being isolated for so long and then coming to shore there, what was that like, being greeted by over 15,000 Tahitians and that incredible ceremony?
Well, the canoe sank. It sank right at the beach because everybody, all these people piled on. And then I turned around, I was teething the line out for the stern line and looked around for Bill, and Bill was on his surfboard outside, just sitting there because there was too many people. After 14 members, one pig, one dog, 2 chickens, and you got like thousands of people. You go, wow, what the hell? I don't know. So anyway, you think to yourself, the feeling I got was all these people that they're unnamed, right? They helped me get there, you know, so to speak, you know, you're on the shoulders of all those other guys that cannot, you know, they've contributed in their own way, but that first time coming in, it was kind of chaotic.
And then Uncle Billy, I gotta ask, so you hop on your board, are you seeing everyone over there? You're like, I just...
we were coming in, and then we're looking along the shoreline, and we just saw this mass. So what is that? And then somebody, I think it was Dookie, said, that's people. What? You know, and as we got closer, I took my board, I jumped off, and I paddled out in the middle of the harbor, and I waited for the canoe to get in and stuff, you know, and just watched it all. I wasn't on board when it landed, you know. But for me also, the arriving, while it's a wonderful thing, it's also really sad because it's over. You know, and over the period that you're sailing, like I said, we went to Africa, okay, and everything. So you get pretty close with your crew, very close. And when you spotlight, you think you're celebrating, but at the same time, you know, it's over. Your family that you developed here, you might not see them again until maybe the next leg, hopefully, and stuff, you know, but it can be sad too.
And you share a really special moment in time in your life. Ka'iulani, is that how the experience is for you as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, as soon as you see the island you're sailing to, you have that just kind of rush of emotions, right? Just like you're stoked, like you got there, and then you're sad because it's Pau, and then you at least have a little bit of time before you like go to land to like prepare yourself for another transition. And I think we all, I think, find ways that we transition ourselves back to the like land, the realm of living on land, but we like just always miss kind of that feeling of being at sea with our family.
Yeah. I do.
Uncle John, what is it like being able to pass this knowledge down? Now watching Ka'iulani and Lehua, now pass it to the next generation.
Just yesterday, I was we talked to 700 kids at Wilcox School. And, you know, to see that week, let's see, last week, Saturday, they had this program called Olelo Kai, where all these schools auditioned to go up on that stage and Olelo, Hawaii. Of course, the Nihao students, their oratory and their eloquent, you know, it was sort of like here in Hawaii, and it was like, I can still hear my grandmother speak it. Yeah, it's pretty special. So these young people, wherever they grow up in their life, take something from what has happened on this Hōkūle'a, and you know, maybe, you know, the next 50 years. Yeah, it's pretty powerful, because now you get education. The Hōkūle'a also was like, it was like a lightning rod. And you know, in one part, one of the comments was, "Hey, were you scared?" I said, "No, I was never scared." And none of us were scared, because we had, you know, we had the guy, you know, Mao. He was, you gotta be fearless. You think to yourself of all the times we were trained, and then, like you just said, when you step off the canoe, you don't have that, you know, this is my family. I might see them at the next sail, and here we are 50 years later, I get to see all these guys again. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful. An unbelievable legacy. Mahalo nui for joining us. Again, we have much more to get to. Rachel, we'll send it over to you.
Thanks so much, Kainoa. Yes, the Bishop Museum has been a longtime supporter of the Hōkūle'a, and they are going to be doing a few things on March 14th. I know there's an event happening, and we've got Taylor Chang here to tell us all about it. Well, first, let's talk about this incredible partnership between the Hōkūle'a and, of course, the Bishop Museum when it comes to research, education, all the above.
Aloha and mahalo nui for having me here. I mean, the relationship between Bishop Museum and the Hōkūle'a spans a little bit over 50 years. You know, in the 1960s, it was a really pivotal time in the work and the life's work and research of some really key individuals who were associated with the museum, helped inform the creation of Hōkūle'a. And so, you know, for today, you know, our Bishop Museum in Ohana, we have a responsibility to acknowledge that history and to celebrate that history and to not forget it. You know, like individuals like who were mentioned earlier, like Terangi Hiroa, Herb Kane, Ben Finney, Mary Kavena Pukui, Will Kilseka of the Planetarium, Tommy Holmes, and so many, and Dr. Sonoto, so many really key individuals whose work the museum has stewarded, you know, to help create Hōkūle'a, and we're just so honored to be able to today to sort of be a part of celebrating that legacy and to hopefully devote as many resources as possible to continue to make that a resource for current and future generations, so that the next 50 years of Hōkūle'a and beyond can continue to grow and to thrive.
Absolutely, and you folks are celebrating on March 14th. Tell everybody about that event.
Yeah, so on March 14th, we're having from 5 to 9 p.m., we're having a campus-wide celebration, bringing together so many people who we saw earlier to present, to share tributes. You know, we have special planetarium shows. Thanks to Ka'iolani Murphy, we're opening a new exhibit in the planetarium lobby, also co-curated by Ka'iolani and Kahapea Tanner and others. We have a keynote by Nainoa Thompson, and we also have you know, music by Robert Cazimero and just various tributes and opportunities to celebrate. So we just really invite people to come and join us and just to have, you know, just to acknowledge this time and place.
My goodness, thank you so much. You know, we're going to take a quick break because I am coughing right now. Got to drink some water, but we'll be right back with more of High Now Daily. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I'm here with a higher view of Moli'i this time, joined with President John Morgan of Kualoa Ranch. Thank you so much for having me out here. Stunning day. And of course, we're celebrating Hōkūle'a's 50th anniversary. How does that feel?
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, we just had a wonderful awa ceremony down at the park this morning. We had a pohaku that was found way up here in the mountains, and we brought it down, and that's one of the ceremonies that just goes along with the incredible legacy of Hōkūle'a.
Yes, you mentioned the word legacy, and that also hits home not just for Hōkūle'a, but also Kualoa Ranch. I know you guys are celebrating 175 years. Can you believe that it's lasted this long and continuously had such an incredible impact on this community?
You know, it is amazing to be part of a legacy that long. You know, Dr. Garrett P. Judd was a advisor to the king, and this Kualoa was the king's personal land, and so he bought it on November 20th of 1850.
Holy
and
smokes!
Our kuleana has gone on in the family ever since. It's wonderful.
So we were talking story a little bit earlier. You mentioned that you are the youngest of 5. Did you ever imagine yourself in this space? You know, how has this entire journey been for you?
You know, when you're young, I think everybody, you don't really know where the path goes, and the main thing in my reflections on it is if there's a door and you want to go find out what's going on and a new path, you know, go down that new path and see what's there. And I think that for me, the drive and the creativity that Kualoa offers has been a dream. It's been a dream.
Oh my gosh, well that gives me chicken skin hearing, and I can definitely feel and see it in all the activations across Kualoa Ranch. But we are here also talking about how Kualoa is the birthing ground of Hōkūle'a. What are some of your memories of that Hōkūle'a being here?
Well, you know, I grew up right across there. We had
house is right across the way.
Across there. And, my baby luau was at what is now the headquarters of Kualoa Park, and so we knew about the storied history of Kualoa and the legacy and the legends about it. And after it became a park in 1971, and they launched in 1975. It just couldn't be more fitting. And there's so many people, and PVS and the Hōkūle'a have done amazing things, not only here in Hawaii, but around the world.
And voyaging, you know, that's such a symbol of sharing, of culture. You know, what is it like being the grounds for that as it goes away and comes back?
Yeah, it's wonderful. You know, I wasn't here on 75, I was in college, but I did see it in 78. And then, you know, FestPac was just last summer.
That was incredible.
You know, every time the Hōkūle'a and the PBS comes here, it's wonderful, and the spirit in the community is great. So it's really amazing.
Absolutely. As we gear up for a big celebration on Saturday, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to?
Just going to be one of the people that is really celebrating with the amazing group of people that lead Hōkūle'a and that have participated all the way along.
Well, I can truly tell how humble you are. I know you have had a big part in all of this, but thank you so much for allowing us to be out here, getting a sneak peek of what's to come this Saturday. John, thank you so much for your time, and I'm gonna send things back to the studio.
Kid. That was beautiful. That was from 2019, Ray's Hawaiki. And joining me now is Michael Thomas Fumai, the Susan Kosasa composer in residence with the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. Welcome to the show.
Aloha, Rachel.
Yes, glad to have you back. This time we're talking about Ray's Hawaiki, which is something that you put together. And wow, that was very, very beautiful for the Hōkūle'a. If you wouldn't mind sharing with all of us the inspiration behind that beautiful piece.
Yeah, Ray's Hawaiki was written to celebrate the homecoming of Hōkūle'a in 2017 from their worldwide voyage. And the vision was to take the audience through a journey from the very first maiden voyage in 1976 to Tahiti all the way to the worldwide voyage. And the title of the piece comes from the dream of Eddie Aikau, who wanted to see Hawaii, the Polynesian homeland, as his ancestors would have saw aboard Wa'a as they approached land for the first time.
Wow, how were you able to do this? I mean, of course, put together this incredible piece, but also incorporate the history, the knowledge, the culture all into this incredible piece.
Well, the first step was to meet the crew, and I was very fortunate and blessed to meet Nainoa Thompson and the PVS crew and Sam Lowe, whose book, Hawaii Rising, kind of was a guiding light to creating the narrative of the symphony. And something that I wanted to do was use Nainoa's, Eddie's, and Maupiala's words for the chorus to sing, and to use them to tell that story.
Wow, now for you to see it come to fruition, what was that like for you personally?
Well, it was a homecoming and a dream come true for me, because it was the first time I worked with the symphony, the first time I got to meet the community in such a way, and it brought together choruses from around the state, and it was the first time for me that demonstrated music can bring together a community, just like Hōkūle'a.
Wow, now, I mean, we are celebrating the 50th birthday. Do you have a message for Hōkūle'a and all the crew members and everybody who have voyaged on her?
Well, you guys are just superheroes, and it's such an inspiration to be in the studio with all of them once again. It's the same feeling I had in 2019 of this bond of being in the present, but also the past and the future.
Beautiful, and I hope there will be more from you when it comes to raising Hawaii and maybe something more in the future, to the next 50 years, yeah?
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. All right, and we're gonna send things now to Kainoa. What's happening?
Oh, that's right. You know I was gonna find my way into the kitchen on today's show. We got Chef Gooch hanging out with us. You know, Ono Grinds is on the way. Right now, we're bracketing greatness. Who's in the middle, Chef Gooch?
No. So, gang world, this is it's Uncle Gary Ewing. And he's probably one of the most legendary cooks in Ohana Wa'a. But yeah, this is the man. This is the man.
This is the man, and that's how we're going to begin things right now. Okay, so one of the things that we've talked a lot today about the Wa'a Hōkūle'a celebrating 50 years, but the crew cannot do what we got to do unless, you know, the opus is full. We got to be running on something. So, Uncle Gary, how does this work, cooking when you isolate it out there at sea?
If you're lucky enough to catch a fish, then you can make post on crew. You cook the head, and you know, you use the broth after you boil the head, and then you use that to make like fish curry. The head, you just take it out, all the bones and everything, put them on the side, make you a vinegar shoyu, and you start eating like this. And because we don't have any refrigeration on board, if we catch a marlin, then we'll strip it and we'll dry it for the rest of the crew.
So, okay, how did you start figuring out, Uncle Gary, like what was gonna work once you get out to the Wa'a? Because it's one thing to think about, but then once you're out there and you're on the sea, obviously you're gonna eat some fish. But then I heard you're like world renowned for these bad boys over here. What's over here, Uncle? What we looking at there?
2013, when we went to New Zealand to pick up the Hikianalia, every night we had guest Maoris, and one guy made this was actually supposed to be just fried bread, and you know, I tried it and then I really liked it, and then so I asked, oh, who made that? Then he introduced me and told me how to do it. But we kind of changed the recipe on board. We had coconut milk, honey, and then you get a can of peaches. You crush it all up and you mix it with your flour.
And right there on board, and then this is giving me like Malasada style vibes.
Yeah. And you figure you're out in the middle of nowhere, salty, hungry, homesick, and then he busts this out, and then that's it. It's like Hōkūle'a time, good stuff.
All right, Chef Gooch, you actually had the opportunity to sail as well. Walk us through, what is that over there? How does it turn into this luau leaf stew?
Well, you know, following the footsteps of greatness is, I think, as one of the gifts that I feel is a privilege, is to be able to utilize like modern day technology and preservation methods, and then to look back to the source, they cook old food, yeah? So like luau stew over there with the kalo, Uncle Gary was just talking about how when they sailed to San Fran, the kalo was good for almost a whole month across. But now we
That's
can
crazy.
take,
I didn't even know it was that. That's a good bit of time.
But this was made by Ohana Makali'i and Dixon Ohana. This is freeze-dried luau stew. Just add water, bangle. And then this right here is cooked, shredded, and dehydrated kalo. The kalo comes from Wai'anu, and then Roots Kalihi guys did that. So now we're bringing in, bringing in community, and people look at the guys on a canoe as the canoe, but it takes an entire community to put us on, yeah.
Uncle Gary, what is it like working with, obviously the kalo when you're out there? I mean, Chef Gucci, you're incorporating a lot into every meal, yeah?
Right. You want to make something that people is pleasing to try. We try to make 2 different entrees. If somebody can't eat, the spaghetti, then you go ahead and make a fish curry or something if you're lucky to get fish. You want to get something in them.
Yeah. You want to, like Uncle said, and even how, cooking on this little 2-burner stove.
I was just gonna ask, so how are you cooking? Like, how does stuff...
It's this little 2-burner stove. It's about a lot of that.
In a box.
In a box, yeah. But it's more than just cooking, right? As Uncle Gary says that you got to be the cheerleader and the morale. You got to be all those things for your crew and keep them happy.
How long does it take usually from the time you either get the fish or you have something like that before food is popped? Because I imagine everybody's hungry.
A couple hours at least.
Yeah.
I try to get up, like if my watch is from 6 to 10, I'll get up about 3 o'clock and maybe make some onigiri, some coffee, and some omelet. And those who like just a cereal oatmeal, that's already on the side in the package.
Uncle, you and legend. All this food is ordered. Chef Groups, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, automatic.
I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be here grinding, cruising with these legends. Rachel, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Kainoa. Down here, there is a serious collab going on between the Hōkūle'a and the 50th birthday, of course, and Aloha de Mele. And that's why we have JT O'Hario over here. And we also have a crew member, Lucy Lee, who's joining us today. She's also a model as well. As you can see, she's sporting the goods today. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. And of course, bringing all of this here. Amazing. With this collaboration, JT, you got to tell us a little bit about it. How special is that? Did they approach you, or how did this all work out for you?
Oh, I totally pitched myself. I got wind that they needed somebody for the 50th, and I was like, hey, can I be a part of this? Because it's like the most amazing thing ever to be. This is definitely the most meaningful collaboration I've ever done.
Wow.
Growing up, you see the Hōkūle'a as just kind of this entity that you just see it. I get seasick, so I was like, I'm never going to be on there. But to be welcomed into such a close-knit family, and, these people who have sailed together, who have worked together, it's been such an honor. I'm really excited. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So a lesson to everybody listening in, you got to pitch yourself. You got to go out there, get it. And that's just what happened. And I wanted to go back to what you just said. You're never going to get on there. But you did, because that's what you had to do in order to create these amazing designs. You got on the Hōkūle'a. You got a little educated. Tell me about that process.
I got a little seasick. It was fine. No, but it was really cool. I mean, watching a lot of vintage B-roll footage and then talking with Lucy and another crew member, Jonah, about what's actually important, how the lashing is such, everybody knows Hōkūle'a for not having any modern, metal or anything on it. It's all the lashing. And then also the wood donuts that are a really iconic part as well, with the key and the la'i and everything. And so it's really cool learning everything.
Oh my goodness. So you were acting as like a mentor as well, telling her what needs to be incorporated into these designs. So Lucy, tell me a little bit about what we're looking at today. I want to show everybody this, but like what's going on over here?
Yeah, so one of the things that JT actually was really interested in creating or incorporating into the merch that she was going to design was these lashings. And so as a lot of the crew members that you've already had the chance to talk to today, one of the first ways that we all get involved is by participating in dry dock, which is the care and the maintenance, the malama of the canoe. And so you guys can head over to JT's social media, and I think we're collab posted with it too, but you'll have the opportunity to listen to Uncle Bruce Blankenfeld, who is the voyaging director for us over at the Polynesian Voyaging Society, talk about the importance of the lashing. The lashing here is Hanlea Kamalama, the Southern Cross, and they learned it from Mao, from as a lot of the other things that we learned on the canoe.
Very cool.
But yeah, so incorporated throughout a lot of the different designs that we collabed with JT on, just giving an opportunity and a shout out to a different part of the canoe that maybe we're less familiar with honing in on and seeing, right? We all love her beautiful red sails at sea, but this is just, one of those other parts of the canoe. And I think we really focused on, we love looking back at old merch and seeing like the designs from the 70s and the 80s.
show them.
So we revamped. This is kind of pulled and rendered from the original launch of Hōkūle'a that day, March 8th, 1975. And so, but also thinking about like, we love when we see people just randomly in public wearing the old merch. And so creating those pieces now that in 30, 40 years, when maybe us or, Keiki now, they'll see and they'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's like retro, And so the creation of all of these things, and they'll all be available throughout the week. And so we'll be celebrating Hōkūle'a's birthday at her birthplace, at her One Hanau, which is actually the name of this print, March 8th at Kualoa. There'll be a ceremony from 8 to 11, and then in conjunction with the Kualoa Wa'a Festival, I believe it's the 16th annual this year, there'll be a continued celebration until about 4 p.m., so merch will be available that day. The following Monday at the Convention Center from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. we'll have dockside tours, and merchandise will also be available for purchase. And then at the Bishop Museum event that Taylor was talking about earlier, the merch will be available there. And then the following Monday, the 17th, if there's anything left, it'll go online. And so we're encouraging you guys to come see us sometime within the next week or so. And if not, hopefully there'll still be some leftovers that we can post online.
Yes, all right, awesome. So make sure you go get your merch sooner rather than later because it could sell out, but you can always get it online like she mentioned. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with more of High Now Daily, but you want it, you gotta go over there. Go to the events, have some fun. Thanks. Aloha and welcome back to High Now Daily. Mahalo to the Polynesian Voyaging Society's top 3 major sponsors, Hawaiian Airlines, Hawaiian Native Corporation, Dawson, and the Nakupuna Foundation.
All very important partners. Kokua, that's what it takes to make it happen. So if you want to support PVS, scan that QR code on your screen right now. It will take you to the Support Us section of Hōkūle'a.com.
Oh,
Good
yes.
fun today.
You better get that merch though. It is gonna go hot, just like this food. Everybody's standing way behind us. I don't know why. You guys better get in here.
I think they've had enough of the TV thing for today. It might be that.
Oh my gosh, what a big congratulations and a happy birthday to Hōkūle'a, celebrating the big 50.
Hey.
Yes, sis. All right. Of course, we're going to have a lot of details on HiNowDaily.com, including all of the events that we mentioned. She knows the drill.
That's
all
right.
the things that are happening.
There's plenty.
Bishop Museum.
There's plenty.
Yeah, everywhere, right?
And again, obviously, March 8th, that's when it's all going to be taking place. Make sure you head to Kualoa, as they mentioned, the celebration kicking off bright and early in the morning. Head out there, again, the birthplace of it, as we continue to celebrate this incredible legacy for another 50 years.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. Can we get one more yes, Sal? Okay. I mean, but for real, come on, don't act everybody.
All right, it's time to one more round of applause for the stars of today's show, though. Thank you, PBS.